Rock and roll. Kia ora, everybody. What's up? It is Robett. Welcome to Robett Live. Easter in New Zealand, Friday morning. Hope it is going okay and well for you. Today on the show, got the bro, Puk Kireka in Hastings. Very interesting past. And why I thought it would be interesting to talk with Puk today was from Fit to Gook. I think I've said that the right way. Hopefully, he'll get us in the mix. Very interesting past. Young man on a bit of a journey, and I thought he'd be good to get on the show and actually have a bit of a corridor and chat with us today. If you're watching live, wherever you're at, you can literally click and comment below, ask us questions as we come along. And so without a doubt, ladies and gentlemen, introducing Puk Kireka. How are you, bro?
Hey, bro. Good. You got my name wrong.
Oh, shit. What? Kireka?
No,
Puk.
it's Puck, not Puk.
Oh, sorry, Puk.
Yeah.
Puck.
It's Fit the Guck. Fit the Guck.
Fit to Gag.
Yeah.
It's a horrible sentence. My bad. So
Oh,
maybe we'll start here. You're a little bit nervous about this interview. You were
yeah.
saying. Why would you be nervous, my friend?
I don't know, just because it's new to me. It's the unknown. I don't know what to expect. So I always get a little bit nervous when I don't know what to expect.
How would you? Maybe we'll start here. When you look at the arc of your life, right? Because how old are you now, bro?
33.
Yeah, okay, so I'm 35. So we're like a third way through. Like I'm 35, you're 33. Say if we live to 100, we're a third way through. Within Māori culture, it's very much narrative and story and a long game with things, right? If you think about your life now and you're at 33, we're a third way through. We probably both are. What do you feel the story of your life has been so far? If you've got 100-year story, we're a third way through it. How would you craft up what your life has been today?
Um,
What's your story been?
oh, yeah, I would say I've had a real rough upbringing from then to where I am now. It's just like I've done a full 360, and it's like I've had another chance in a way to live the right way instead of living the way that I was living many years ago. For many years, I should say.
Mm. When you see you've done a full 360 now, you're only a third way through, are you glad you've made the full turn sooner? Or do you feel that, like, how do you feel about the timing of how you've made your decisions to this point now?
Yeah,
Would you've done things earlier, quicker? Like, how do you feel about the timing of your moves?
I guess it just all came down to having certain people around me that influenced the way I thought, because I used to think a certain way for so long, being a gang member, living the gang life all my life. My dad was a gang member, my brothers are gang members, my cousins, my uncles, everyone's gang members, or else everyone's related to gang members around here. And so I lived this life pretty much till I was 30. And when I talk about doing a 360, I'm talking about my mind. Like I stopped thinking gang 24/7, and then I started thinking about, I've got to start doing some proper things in this world for my children, for myself, for my family, to, live a better life, because I don't want them to experience and go through the things that I went through growing up. I want them to enjoy life instead of look back on their life and regret a lot of things. And I had to break the cycle, bro. That's what it's all about, really, is just breaking that cycle, or I still end up living the same footsteps as that I was living, and I don't want that for them.
Mm. And it's an interesting one around your circle, right? So how would you feel, not that you compare the circles at all, but by circle, do you mean people, conversations, energy, actions? Like, what did you mean influenced by circle?
Just people and like people that came into my life and just showed me what life is truly about, and that's pretty much all it took. They nudged me along. Took them a while to get me to be 100% committed to doing these life-changing things, because I was sort of still like, nah, man, I didn't even know you guys probably what he's even talking about. I'm doing fine over here, but really, I wasn't doing fine. I was actually, I was either going to end up in jail for a very long time and then miss out on my family, or else I probably would have ended up, dead or something. So I believe they came into my life at the right time for me to pretty much just wake up and start doing things properly.
Was it like a verbal intervention of what your future could be? What was the drivers of those conversations? Was it fear for the future? Was it regret? Was it whānau? Was it like, what were the drivers that changed the headspace when you talk about changing 360 mindset? Because I just think it's really, I think about the circle a lot. I think about the people you choose to listen to, the people you choose to stay close. And Big Sean has a line on, I think it was Wolves or something. He says, I got these crew in my circle, but they're not in my corner. And it was about like who's in your world, but who's actually got your back. And there's usually a difference for that. So just talk to me about that for a second, because I'm interested to know, what pieces they were that made the change.
It was just my children, having these people come into my life and show me, what's possible if you do it right. Because I already know what's possible in the other side of life, and pretty much the outcome to that is jail for a very long time. But when they slowly started showing me the good side of life, that I'd say the proper side of living and how to live properly, and just made me realize that I was going nowhere on this side pretty much, and that means I was not being a very good role model or father figure to my children, and they've been the biggest drive in my wanting to change.
Perspective, eh? How old are your children?
So my son, he's my oldest. He's 12. My oldest daughter is 10, and I've got a young girl that's 6 months. And
it's a big gap. Same mother?
No.
Yeah, so the 10 and 12, and then the 6 months.
Yeah, they all got different mums actually.
Oh yeah, busy boy, bro.
I see, this is because my mind wasn't right. I never even thought about things like that. Just having kids wasn't. Most people would have kids and try and stay together as a family. I didn't think that way. I just thought like, nah, man, if I don't like you, I'm out of there. It wasn't really the healthy way to think. But I was only young. I didn't know any better. No one taught me how to do everything. I sort of taught myself everything. So, my dad left my life when I was 7 years old. So I had to step up and be the father figure for my younger brothers and that.
Yeah.
And, the people that I looked up to then weren't very good role models either, but, they made me feel welcome and all that. Hence the reason why I turned out the way I turned out, pretty much.
Yeah, that headspace at 7. See, mine was 11. My dad had a double brain hemorrhage and stroke. He went back to the brain capacity of a 6-year-old when I was 11. And I was kind of man of house at 11 too. And I lived in Aranui and similar, but I can imagine at 7. So what are your other siblings? So you were what kind of man of the house at 7?
Yeah, so I'm the oldest son out of 7 children.
Yeah, see, that's tough. Yeah, that's even tougher. So what was your take on relationships then? Was it, was it just stuff that don't like you next, short term, whatever, like there was no like legacy thinking, or did the perspective shift change with baby number 3? Because clearly you've gone on a different trajectory this last little bit, right? Like,
yeah, baby number 3 has definitely been like this is it sort of thing. You're either going to do it or not. But she's been the big wake up call, baby number 3. And
mainly because your headspace is different, or just you're in a
definitely headspace is different. Everything I do and think about now is way different to what I thought about 2 years ago. Because I've only been doing, like, started changing just over 2 years ago, and it's been good. I enjoy it, but it's been tough as well.
In snowboarding, there was always the people who, you could ride the chairlifts and it was super easy. You sit on straight to the top and you're down, it's easy. And then there'd be those that would see the peak and be like, no, I'm going to go hike up to the top and I'm going to go earn my turns. I'm going to walk up the top, and they put the energy and the effort, and it'll be 10 times harder than taking a chairlift, but it doesn't but they don't get the full joy of when they do, they get the full joy of actually experiencing it, which is awesome. So good on you for making that time. Someone said you're pretty quiet a bit. Let me know if it's a little bit better now. Hopefully I'll turn up my mic just a little bit. Hopefully that sounds a bit better. And then James Blakey says, boys, this is the realest shit happening in New Zealand right now. Thanks for making it happen. Don't be nervous. People need to hear about experience. Shot, James. Yeah, very cool. So when you think about when you were younger, looking at the world, what did you think the reality was? Like, what was the perception versus reality of what you thought the world was when you were 20 to say 30? At 20, the perception was what? And then at 30, the perception was what? Like, what was the shift mentally in terms of a decade of you growing up?
I'd say, like, my way of thinking back when I was in 20, as I just thought, Mongrel mob, that's my world. That's all I see. I would never associate with anyone outside of that circle. I didn't know how to. I just knew how to be a gang member. I was really good at it. And then now 30, I look back and I think, like, during all that decade, I spent about 5 years of that in prison. And then, that's been another, like, wake up call for me too. Like, I was in a gang. The only thing I've really gotten out of that is criminal charges and jail sentences. But now I've turned around and started doing things different. I'm getting a bit of, good stuff happening in my life, and it feels way better. And I wish that I had someone back in my life then that I have in my life now to tell me these things. Because I just, I wouldn't say I wasted 10 years, because I met a lot of good people that, have been through the same thing as me. And, they're still in it. They haven't had those people in their lives come to them and, help them try and get out. And that's one of the sad things about it. And a lot of them have only turned out the way they turn out because that's how they were brought up. And it's really, when you watch Once We're Warriors, that's not just a movie, that's true life. That really happens. And I've seen that shit happen many times.
This is the crazy thing. People don't, like, my wife's American. On her 25th birthday, came to New Zealand. On her 25th birthday, we thought we'd show them Once We're Warriors. And they thought it was like a nightmare joke. And I was like, no, like, we're laughing because it's kind of true. And they're like, what? I was like, no, this happens. Like, this is real. This isn't and you just watch their minds blowing up. Like, what is this shit? It's like, this is it's the reality. It's the truth. And you'd know better than most because you've seen it and lived it. I get it.
Yeah. It really happens. It really happens in these families. And when you're young and you see all that for years, you grow up and you start doing that shit too. And that's another sad thing about it. That's why the cycle never gets broken. No one's really stood up and tried to break it. It just continues and continues and continues. And
You're the
yeah,
start of that. Like
yeah,
your journey, because it's always been public, and yes, there's been some dips and some fails, and you've eaten shit, and you're trying to hustle your way through it. The purity of the documentation of you being vulnerable enough to show the attempt at change shows how tough it is when that's all you've ever known, right? So I think that's kudos for you for owning those pieces. Like Brent, the bros just jumped in. Everyone has the capacity to change. Respect for making efforts to change in a positive way. Totally agree. Joe, flipping legend. Joe goes, amazing quote at all. What a journey. I'm interested in how you think we help people choose the good side of life earlier, or even better, avoid the other side altogether. What do you change to make things better at a scale? Thanks for doing this. It's a like I remember once. So after my dad passed away, so I was 15 and he passed, and we were in, I don't know, we were on the benefit and stuff. Not too many people know. I don't really talk about it too much, but when I was older and I went on and started doing my own thing and traveling, I remember once my mum pulled me aside and she goes, I'm really glad that you chose the good side with your skill set. And this one thing just always stuck with me. And for years, I was just kind of like, oh, whatever. And then it kept going back to me. This last couple of years, I was like, what was she nervous about? And I think what it was is she was nervous that my skill set at the time, when, you fail in high school, you're on the benefit, you're in Aranui, your dad's just passed away, you're the man of the house, you're not doing good, there's gangs and bullshit around you. And you look at my skill set, which was different to most, I think she was scared that I was going to go the other path. And then I think about now with how my brain thinks, if I was in that world, geez, it would be dangerous. Like, and then I'm like really like glad, that whatever happened in my life, I got my escape and stuff too. So I think it's a really interesting question of what Joe's saying about, how do you think we should help choose the good side of life earlier, or even avoid the better side? What would you change to make things better at scale? What would your answer to that be if you were to try and go back to yourself earlier to save more of the use?
I would say that it all just comes down again to the people that are around you. You tend to follow what you see, and if you see it from a young age and it looks good, you see the good side of it. Especially if that's all you're seeing, then you want to start living that life. And yeah, I believe if my mum and my dad were maybe like builders or things like that, I might have grew up to be a builder, but unfortunately, no, they weren't. They were, drug and alcohol abusive to us. My dad left when I was 7 years old, and yeah, so I had no role model in my life. And I lived in a neighborhood where crime was high and things like that. Everyone was on benefits. No one was really working around there, and all the kids used to be out on the streets late doing whatever. And to us, that was cool. No rules, sort of. And I think that's how it starts. That's where the seeds planted, and then you just start growing up like that.
Well, in the business world, I talk about the Las Vegas effect of, everyone now wants to be an entrepreneur and wear a hoodie and start businesses and build $1 billion company and do the tech cool shit. And they see the glitz and glamour of these exits and these businesses that go public and make millions of dollars and whatever it may be. They don't see the underbelly of the pain and destruction and the chaos and the bankruptcy and the no sleep and the lost relationships and the stresses. But just like Las Vegas, you see the glitz and the glam and the cool shit. You don't see the heartache and the despair and the, like I've been in Vegas and like I watched a guy feel like he just lost his house and just get demolished. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like the reality, sometimes it's a huge disconnect, right, between the perception and the reality of it. So for you now, do you Are you aware that at 33 you might be the visual like breadcrumb of positivity, who's someone who looks like you, rolls like you, talks like you, that might be going down a path A of badness to, or B for badness, but A for goodness? Are you aware yet that you might be having a bigger halo effect for others that are younger on the come up, that might choose or get close to be surrounded by stuff? Are you aware of that now?
Yeah, a little bit,
Yeah.
because I've seen, even just around here in my hometown, I've seen a lot of young guys that really look up to me and what I do, and yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Like, but they need to know that there's more to life than just staying in the one neighborhood all your life and things like that. Because I've never left. I've never left New Zealand. Just yeah, I
Well,
travelled
the
all
bubbles can
around.
be dangerous. Yeah, you know, because if you get stuck in that bubble, you think that that's it. You know.
Yeah, yeah, no, it is. Like I was stuck in the bubble for 30 years. Um, I didn't choose to be born into the family I was born into, or to be surrounded with the people that I was surrounded from birth. So,
Mm.
but I'm glad that I had these people come into my life now rather than later on, so I can, my son is becoming a young teenager now, and for a long time I used to take him to big gang functions. I used to dress him up like a little gang member, and now he's sort of going through that phase at the moment where he's starting to be
Yeah.
attracted to that side of life, and I'm pulling him back slowly, just letting him know, like, it's all right to have friends, but you don't have to do what your friends do or
Mm.
like what your friends like all the time. Because he's starting to hang around with troubled youths. But it just reminds me of myself.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. It's kind of like a 2-decade-old karma. You're the little badass going around doing your shit. Like, I mean, not probably to the same levels of you, but you go around, you get up to mischief and stuff. There'd be some tagging stuff, or going to bits and pieces. Like we ended up, we tried to turn good. There'd be a crew of us in Christchurch, and we'd go to like town on a Friday, and they'd take like the kitchen lino down with some beatbox with some double D batteries, and go like break dancing and shit. And we take the basketball down and like try and like get tips from like drunk people, and then go to, but like you move as a mob, like get the number 5 bus, and you do that, you hide from the cops, whatever it may be, but then you get older, and then you're like, there's no way in hell I'm flipping letting my kid do that shit, stuff that. And then it's funny, and then it happens to you, and you're like, shit, this was me. And so you kind of like, how do you get fearful of their future taking the wrong paths? And do you feel an obligation now that you've maybe turned the corner, that you have to try and navigate and steer those ships of these little kind of innocent humans the right way?
yeah. I think I just have to start spending way more time with him at this time while he's starting to find that lifestyle appealing, and just keep getting inside his ear. I'm not gonna like force him into anything because it might make him really go that way.
Mm.
But I'll just keep being that little guy in his ear, just telling him, there's a better thing over here, there's better stuff over this side too. You
Yeah.
can still be friends with those guys, but there's better things to do over here.
Yeah. It's tough because I was physically with a crew, but mentally I was in a different space with where I was going with my energy. And so at sometimes when I was growing up in that space, I felt a little bit of a chameleon, because I was like boysies physically, and there's still some of my good bros today. But in my head, I was already kind of like heading on another path, but I could feel it. But I had that sort of mental toughness or resilience to see the longer game with it. Um, Joy, Joy is a legend. Love the story. Everyone can change their path if we lend our support, put out a hand. Good stuff. Keep up the good mahi. Shot Joy. Joy is lovely. Whatever's clever, straight. Tamati. There you go. Tamati.
Yeah.
So when you think of, I don't know. Visually now at 33, your headspace is different to what it was 10 years ago, but visibly you've still got the markings of the past. I want to talk about the perception versus reality of what you look like to who you are, right? So how do you feel about the judgment that you have obviously felt from what you may look like? You know, you look like a pretty, what are you, like 6'2", 100
Yep.
kgs, buff as shit, Māori looking dude, tats, you know, not the friendliest face. I've been down that path. Like, have you dealt with judgment visually in your world in the last, when did maybe even before the tats? Because how old were you when you got the tattoos?
So I've had the tattoos for about nearly 6 years.
Okay. So, but before that, even through that world, have you dealt with the battle of perception versus reality with who you are and what you look like and actually who you are as a person?
What now? Or just in general?
Maybe then, did you think of it as a liability or as an asset that you were threatening or physically intimidating or whatever? And then now, yeah, how do you think about that?
Yeah, so when I first got the tattoo, you know, the reason why I got it was, you know, because I've met a lot of good people in the gang that have passed away, and some of them were like my really good friends that I lost to like suicide and drug addictions. And you know, back then I'm thinking like, you know, this is my life forever. I'm never gonna change. I'm just gonna do this. It's the only one I'm gonna live. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I tattooed my face, you know, to remember them, and as a symbol to say, you know, they're my brothers for life. And this is it on my face. Says notorious, because those were my brothers. They were notorious gang members. So that's the reason why I got that. And I did not think about or care about what people would think. I wanted to wear this proud so everyone knew, like, oh, he's a gang member. You know, it's on his face. There's no undercover. There's no like going into anyone else's turf and being undercover. You know, this is why I got the tattoo. You know, I was in it for life, and I'm proud. You know, I was proud to walk around with this on my face and let everyone know that, you know, this is me. I don't care what you think. That was the attitude I had. I did not think that once I got that tattoo that I wouldn't be able to get into a lot of places.
Yeah.
I did not think about all that at the time. But back then I didn't even go to these places. But now, even like some places I can't even go to just have lunch because, yeah, they just won't let me in because of the tattoo. And if I do go anywhere, I've got to like put makeup on to cover it up if I really want to get in there. But yeah.
Or just move to America and just have to wear the mask the whole time. It's still COVID, but you cover it easy. Yeah. So what is it? You obviously, I understand the genesis behind it now, but the long-term implications for judgment of others. When you were younger and got it, did you feel power that people were fearful of you and of the physical specimen, what you visually represented, what you were engulfed with? It was not pride, not that now it's shame at all, because obviously I understand the genesis out of respect for those who have come before. But now when you go somewhere and people probably look at you all the time, how does it make you feel?
Oh, I'm used to it now. It's just normal, but now I've put on a bit of muscle and all that. People look at me like, "Whoa, this fella looks cool." Yeah. I've had a lot of compliments, and I've had a lot of people sort of like, "Wow."
It's full commitment, right? Like it's full commitment.
Yeah, no, it is. But 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 yeah, no, it is.
Saves you a bit of money on wardrobe too, eh? You just don't even need to.
And
You're pretty
you get
good.
to go out nowhere. It's all good.
So I was going to ask you about transitioning out from, say, old world to new, like old Puk, new Puk. The energy around, say, anger and emotion. Like, how have you, like, say for me personally, like if I don't like go and hit a boxing bag or try and go do something physical, my brain just goes flipping crazy. I just need to move. I need to do stuff within your old world to the new. How have you navigated like anger and emotion and dealing with that? So,
Um, Gym's
yeah,
been my biggest outlet for everything, pretty much. If I didn't find fitness, I probably wouldn't have made any of these good decisions that I've made, because the fitness was the outlet for me to clear my mind and, just become healthy. And then I really enjoyed it. And plus it helped me get over a big time meth habit as well. You know, I used to have a big meth habit, but then I found fitness and it sort of helped me rehabilitate myself. And while I was doing that, I ended up started rehabilitating other things that I didn't even know at the time. Just
like what?
yeah, really. What was that, sorry?
Like what?
Like my mind, my thoughts, my attitude just towards people. And then I started slowly associating with people that weren't gang members, from meeting them at the gym and things like that. And I started seeing like, hey man, some of these guys are really cool. Like, maybe I should be friends with them. I don't have to
Learn
be
some
just
stuff.
friends with heaps of gang members and gang members only. But yeah,
What's
that
the
was
difference of conversation that you now have with people around you? Because I'm interested around the circle, right? Like
oh,
going
bro.
back to that, yeah. Like how is it changing where your mind goes when you have conversations with certain people? Because I always remember my mum would say, like simple people talk about people and bullshit. Or she wouldn't say bullshit. She's a very nice Christian lady. Average people talk about things, and then great people talk about ideas and opportunity and whatever else as well, kind of like layers of conversation. What was the biggest thing you noticed differently about interacting with those potentially in this new world around conversation and learnings of in that circle?
Oh, when I was in the gang, we're talking about fuck who we're gonna beat up. So this fella needs to get bigger than up and things like that, like who to sell the drugs. But on this side, we're talking about calories, broccoli, things like that. Like, oh, what are we gonna be pumping tomorrow? What's the next routine? What's your fitness goals? Things like that. Even goal setting. Like, I've only just learned how to do goal setting in the last couple of years. It's
Yeah,
all new, and I still struggle sometimes because I'm trying to set big goals instead of trying to
yeah,
do little goals and achieve the big goal. I'm trying to set big goals, and if I don't achieve it in a certain amount of time, I get a little bit upset with myself.
yeah.
But
Do you, when you talk to goal setting, how do you approach your goal setting? Is this like small, medium, long, and like days, months, years, decades? Like, how do you think when you first started learning about goal setting? How did you think about it?
when I first learned about it, I was like, "Hey, what's this shit?" Like, that was my honest thing. Like, fuck, I couldn't even think of a goal, to be honest. It was so hard. Because I never thought that way before, and it was just like, what are goals? Like, what do you mean by goals? But now I've sort of got a good or like a good hand on things. We just do weekly goals now,
Okay.
just little small ones, just especially for the business and things like that, and just to help keep myself motivated and on track
Mm.
and
Speaking of
focused.
business, James Blake says, Puk, what businesses are you working on?
So
Tell
me and
right.
my partner, we're working on so we have got an online fitness coaching. That's what I do for a living now. And yeah, I just want to use what helped me get through some tough times and help other people as well. And that was fitness. So we have a business called Fit to Guck. We're on Instagram and Facebook. And we also have an online app platform there where you can get diet plans, workout programs, and all the things like that.
Mm.
So we've been doing that for about maybe 6 months. It's been really hard.
There's a play around the branding of, you know, Notorious Fitness might be something to potentially look at. The branding could be quite easy. If we need a branding conversation, I know some people.
Yeah, that actually sounds quite good.
Yeah. Well, mate, I know, bro, that's a solid marketing business. I'll add you up and have a look. So for James, if they wanted to check out the website, where would they go to check out you doing?
You can find me on Instagram at Fit to Guck, FIT number 2 GUK.
Yeah, Fit to Guck. There you go.
All one word.
Yeah. And then James, so this is actually an interesting one, right? Transitioning your skill set from the old world to the new. What has been the biggest challenge of the new business as understanding? Like, obviously, if you know you're doing, if you do it, obviously you've got some past in sales and the customer service. Maybe you know, so you know, I'm sure HR might be an issue, but what has been the biggest challenge of trying to change your skill set or adapt that skill set into the new world?
The biggest challenge for me is myself, really, because I have this thing where I'm afraid to fail because I've failed so many times. I feel like I failed my family many times that I don't want to fail this. So I sort of put the handbrake on a lot and don't make decisions because I don't want to make the decisions and then they're not the right ones, sort of thing. But I have to make the decisions. So we're sort of just trotting along like we could be going way better, but I'm the biggest reason why it's not, because of those reasons. Just afraid to fail, or afraid to what people would think, sort of thing. Yeah.
It's not uncommon, and it becomes this thing around like paralysis by analysis, right? You get frozen because you get fearful of, if I do this, then this might happen. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. If I blah 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 blah, right? And what happens is, you know, just a quick little insight maybe is, you know, you're talking about the past, how, you know, you might have regret for this or that, blah blah blah. In the business world, it's very much that. But what happens, it's regret of, oh, I should have done this, I could have done that, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's what happens all the time, but it only happens a lot for people that don't try, right? That don't actually go and give it a crack, that don't be brave enough to go and try and do. And it's weird enough because it's quite interesting because, you know, you'd happily, you know, get into a fight or do some gang stuff here, there, whatever. But then to make a decision on business stuff, that's potentially more fearful. Like, you'd almost rather get in a fist fight with 5 dudes than like make a call on, you know, how you structure your pricing for the products and services which might go online. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's wild, dude. That's because you flip it the other way. No one thinks of that. So, you know, if you look at business or startups anyway, you know, 90% to 95% fail, right? Like, it's extremely low. And then if you look within Māoridom or Pacifica, within, like, say, tech, like, I think, I could be wrong, but the numbers around like 3 to 5% of like dollars and stuff that come into it go towards culture or are, like, you know, successful within it. So, you know, when you're running a business in culture and you're Māori Pacifica, there's already a lot more going against you. So, you know, you can't, the same mindset that you've taken to switch from the old world to the new, you need to think about it of like, how do you go into the offense? Because the difference is, say, for me anyway, like, my crossover was in snowboard world, right? If I go off a jump 1 degree to the right, I flip and hit a rock and I break my neck. And if I take one turn less, I land short on a flipping 60-foot jump and I blow my ACL and snap my tib fib, right? But that's like real risk, you know, like you'd seen real risk in the past. Then when you come into business, you're at sea level, you're not wearing a whole bunch of shit in the snow, you're not jumping off cliffs, and you make a thing which at the end of the day, if it goes bad, it's like a piece of paper or something that's not really, you know, it's not real risk, you know, like you're still going to go home with, regardless of these decisions, with, you know, your neck not in a cast and your ACL's not broken and you're flipping tib fibs still in one piece. So for me, I think about is it real risk? Like you've seen real risk, or is it the perception of risk of what you think it is? And the answer is always, it's never real risk. Like real risk, you've seen that shit, right? So I think it's maybe just a bit of a rah-rah of, you'll be surprised as long as people know what your intent is, that you're wanting to try and do good shit. You want to try and make people give you so much leeway. So don't handbrake yourself for your own future based on like the paralysis by analysis of being scared to do something because it might fail. Like you will fail. That's the point. But you know, like I even say, you know, like with the LeBron James shit, like the dude's the best in the world, or arguably, you know, top 3 Durant, whatever. But he still gets 100 points scored on him every day. He loses 100 times. But at the end, he gets that final shot, then they win, and he's the man. But he got shot on or dunked on or laid up on or crossed over 100 times. You see what I mean? Like it's that mindset around, you know, are you on offense or defense? And I would hate for you to freeze for this next stage in your life because you're too scared about the defense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a headspace of it. It's tricky. Jessica, paralysis by analysis, so true. The fine art of overthinking. Totally is true. What do you think the biggest thing you've learned about yourself is in the last old world to new world? What do you learn the most?
Probably that, you know, people can change. That's probably the biggest thing that I've learned, because I'm living proof that, you know, it can be done with the right support and people around you. You can turn your life right around.
Do you feel so you go?
Yeah, and that's pretty much all you need. Just need that support and those people to just keep nudging you, you know, not pressuring you, but just nudging you towards that right pathway, I should say. And then that's one of the biggest things that I learned.
And it's not going to be without its bumps, right? Like I'd checked just before I put up your name into Google, and you got in trouble last year at the end of, or started last year or something. Sentenced to 6 months supervision after assaulting your partner.
Yeah.
Is that the old Puk coming back in? What was that? Apart from a huge stuff, which I'm sure you regret and have been a dick about it.
Yeah, well, because of who I am in my past, you know, even if I just push someone, it's a big deal. You know, it's a violent thing, and yeah, we had a bit of an argument and things where we started pushing each other around, and then someone seen and rung the cops, and then, you know, this happened like at the start of my change. Where I didn't get convicted of it for a while. So I was on bail for that for like a year, and then I got convicted of it. Or I pled guilty to it. I didn't get convicted, and because I just wanted to move on. I didn't want to drag out something. You know, I was guilty of pushing it over and things. So, you know, I would stand up and say that, you know, I pushed it, and that was hard because I was trying to change, but then that happened, and it sort of looked like, he's all shit. He's not trying to change nothing. So I got heaps of negativity for that, and it was hard to deal with at the time, because I started thinking like, well, when you're trying to change, but you know, I'm getting worse things from people now than I did when I was just naughty as. So I was sort of like, fuck, should I just stay naughty because I don't get this sort of backlash from people when I'm naughty, but yeah, but I didn't. I keep going forward. I still had those people on the sideline nudging me, just like, don't let that bring you down. Everyone has problems. Even some of the world's famous people still have problems like that. But
and you're still so in that moment, right? Like, because I am extremely emotional around shit, right? Like I wear a Fitbit. Half the reason I wear this Fitbit is because I monitor my heart rate. So if I was with Mel, my two, I said we're about to go into this big meeting with this company, and the person on the other side really despises me, like absolutely thinks I'm a total piece of shit. But I had leverage in that situation, and I knew I was about to flip and steamroll this dude, right? And my heart rate got up to as if I was working out. I was like 120 or 130 sitting down. I'm just so into it. Like I get just super emotional about things. And, I have to have a mechanism to calm and cool and woosah and all this shit. That moment for you, obviously you stuffed up bad boy, horrible piece of shit. Don't do that again. But what did you learn about how you have to navigate your own energy and emotion to try and survive in this new world, to be able to last for the rest of your life? Like, how do you approach dealing with that with yourself? Because it's a battle with you, right? Because, you're the man in the situation. How have you decided to try and navigate through that?
we started off just left social media for a start because that was where most of the shit was happening. So we didn't see it. When you can't see it, it doesn't affect you or hear it. We heard a little bit of stuff, but that helped out a lot. Not going on social media and reading about it. It was in the papers here, front paging some of it. I was just like, oh man, like it was
a nice photo to go with it.
Yeah, like it was. Yeah, I didn't understand like how that happened, like that. But then there's someone that they can do like a manslaughter and they'll get a little tiny write up in there. But my one was like front paging, and it was not as bad as what the police were making it out to be. But they sort of had a problem with me here about my change, and they didn't believe it. So they were sort of giving me a bit of shit as well. Probably trying to get a reaction out of me, but I didn't react. I just thought about my kids and just keep going straight. Because
and how do you deal with your energy now? Like, you get mad, you get upset, you want to flip and put your fist through a flipping wall. Like, what's your process now to deal with like anger and emotion? Jim.
Oh yeah, I know now when I if I feel myself getting angry or wanting to get angry, I know like, man, I need to go to the gym. I'll just headphones on, listen to my music, and I'll just take it out on the weights there. And then I'll always leave the gym like a new person, just happy. Thoughts are gone. It gives me time to like rethink about what just happened. Is it even worth getting angry about? Things like that, and that's how I counter. That's what works for me.
Yeah,
and it's always worked for me for the last year. So probably even longer.
What about with your partner? Do you communicate more? You verbalize, you talk through things. A lot of tough men don't talk about tough things, right? They don't have the emotional capability to either talk about their feelings or what's going on or how they truly, like, the stories they're telling themselves in their head or whatever. Has your relationship with your partner changed as you've grown for a bit more depth emotionally?
Yeah, no, we've got a really good relationship. At first, there was a bit of like, because when she met me, I was still kind of cool into the gang, and you know, and she's part of the reason. She's one of the people actually that have come in and sort of been nudging me along to do better things. You know, at the start, it's like, you don't even know what you're talking about. You don't know, like, things like that. We always agree to disagree a lot, but yeah, we've come a long way because it wasn't always like that. We had a lot of arguments and heated moments, but now we can sit down and talk about it like grown ups, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and explain like, hey, I'm not happy with this and that. But before we couldn't do that.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm growing as a person, and you know, she's growing as well. And you know, our little baby is
6 months.
Yeah, 6 months, and she's been great. She's one of the biggest reasons why we are starting to knuckle down anyway and do things properly.
Well, I asked that question because, you know, so many people from a similar background, it's 0 to 100 real quick, physical explosion, negative, bad shit. And then that's their outlet, you know. And obviously now you've got gym and you've got talking. Like for me, it was the same. Like I got into boxing with Monty Beetham up in AK, and we'd have, you know, 3 days a week getting into it. It was just like that kind of group accountability mentality. It was the perfect mix of like mental stimulation where you're not just going bored, but then physical activity. Yeah, and just having those things was super cool. Drew was saying, yeah, there'll always be bumps in the road. Keep on going. Henade, the bro, Henade's flipping good bastard. Bro Min Corredor, has your new reality had a positive ripple effect in your wider circles? I mean, you're talking about, you know, young kids in your town stuff rocking up and saying what's up. Has this journey that you're now on, what type of positive effect have you seen in your wider circles? Good question, Henade.
What do you mean by wider circles of that?
I guess further than the community, within those acquaintances that maybe don't know you full personally, but like the energy you get from others, like how, like I guess the wider kind of the wider crew around your world that exist.
Yeah, I feel like my impact on them has been really good. I mean, I've only been on Instagram for probably like 6 to 7 months, and I've nearly got 10,000 followers. So I must be doing something pretty good for people to want to follow me. And yeah, but I'm just real. I'll just share my life experiences. You know, I'm still a normal human. I still, you know, get sad. I still get angry. You know, I cry. I do all these things that normal humans do. I might have lived a certain life then, but on how I am now, and I believe that I've made a good impact from then to now. Anyway, in the wider community.
Yeah, but do you think that the majority of people that would be engaging or following or seeing you, do you think it's very clear that the majority of them are supporters from the sidelines wanting you to win, right? Like you're aware of that. That's the hook.
Yeah.
Do you feel that?
Yeah, sort of. I don't feel it all the time, but then sometimes I have my moments where I feel it, and then some days I don't feel it. But yeah.
Your the crew that are with you now, like how often are you going to the gym and stuff now? Like is this like every day? Because you're training as well to be a personal trainer and stuff. Like what's the timing for you for all that? Like how often are you going? Like what's the regimen with you in the gym? Like with the business?
I'm in there like every day. I'm in there like nearly every day. Like, I might have one day off, but I even struggle with that one day. Like I start getting fidgety and wanting to just go to the gym, but I know I need to have that rest and try and spend that time with my family.
Yeah. What's the biggest thing you're most excited about in this next 10 years? You'll be 40, you'll be 43.
Yeah, probably
What does your world look like?
see where the business goes, how big it gets, if it takes off. That'll be the most exciting thing for me, and just to look back on that and know that I've done the best I can do for my children's futures.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be my dream come true, to be able to look after them and my mum for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. Well, your boy will be 23 by then, so he's going to be either down path A or path B, right? So it's a big 10 years ahead.
I'll keep nudging him as much as I can, and hopefully he'll take path B or path A.
One of the things I've always been interested in with branding is how a liability can be an asset. And so maybe one of the things to think about was, the brand of Notorious that is clearly known for you visually for the masses and everything else as well. Being able to, flip that narrative on its head down the right way. I think there's definitely something in there around that brand of for the business and for you and stuff as well. So I think there's definitely have a bit of digging. Happy to connect you with some crew or help out myself if I can. If people want to check out your website, your Instagram, where can they go to? What can they do?
I'll just go to Instagram, type in Fit to Guck. I'll pop up. Same as on Facebook, and the website is www.fittoguck.com. If you want to check that out. Yeah.
Easy. James, would you change anything in life, or is it all growing and teaching? Same as you, is it regrets or just things that happen along the way and it's a way to learn? Would you change anything in your life?
Probably not, because if I didn't experience all that, I wouldn't know how good everything I'm learning now is. But everything happens for a reason. So yeah, I probably wouldn't change nothing. Just probably, I might just do school better because I wasn't good at school. But, yeah,
I get it. Yeah, dude, I really appreciate your time, bro. I know you're a busy man. I'm sure I think you were just at the gym before this. I'm imagining it's a Friday. What's on the cards for the rest of the day? You're gonna back to the gym, back in the mix?
I'm definitely going back to the gym. I got to get that Good Friday workout in, and then that's me. I've got the family.
Day? What is it? Is it leg day? What is it?
It's everything day for me today. Try to do everything on a Friday. Couple of exercises of each muscle.
There you go.
Yeah.
Appreciate, bro. Good solid chat, and I'm super proud of the changes that you've done. It's cool that you are very aware now that many are looking at you for what potentially could be for them. And the further you get along with your journey, whether it be the ups and downs and all the bullshit that's going to come along with it, stay true to that path around, it's been a big change in the last 10 years, and keeping your head down for the next 10 will get, your whānau, everything set for generations to come, which can change many, many lives. So you should be super proud of yourself, bro.
Cool, bro. Thanks for having me. It was cool.
So it's not too bad talking shit to some stuff. See?
Yeah.
Not that we had like notes or anything we were going to go through. So no, it was
sweet. Even know. I'm just seeing the time there. If I didn't feel like an hour.
That's good, mate. Okay. Appreciate it, brother. Enjoy the Easter. Everyone that's been watching and listening, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm sure they've learned a lot, and you've got a lot of cheerleaders on side. Anytime, happy to help plug in whatever you need, bro. But good on you for your journey, bro. Really appreciate your time.
Sweet. Thank you, guys. So have a good day.
Yeah, bro. Mate. Later on. Chat.
Later.
Boom. There you go, team. That was awesome. Puk, Fit to Guck, Instagram. Very cool seeing the changes. I wanted to do that. I thought that was important to do for a multitude of reasons. Hope you enjoy your Easter, everybody. Be good, be great, have fun, stay out of trouble. See you all soon. Peace.